Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams. Thank you for joining in for our Chaitanya Charitamrita study session. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्येश्वरं। हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। अनुलम्बितौ भुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलाताक्षौ विश्वाम्बरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। Hare Krishna. So thank you devotees for joining in for our Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita session. So we are still on the introduction part of it, the dedication, the foreword and the introduction. So we're talking about how Krishna is equal to everyone. Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam. Right? Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam means he's the well-wisher of all the living entities. And he is equal to all the living entities, right? And yet we saw Kaunteya Pratijanihi Nami Bhakta Pranashyati. Right? Krishna declares, or asks Arjuna to declare that my devotee never perishes. Right? So, Prabhupada was talking about how we can develop 5 kinds of relations with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, starting with Shantarasa. Shantarasa means like Balaram expands into the ornaments of the Lord. Right? So, that is Shantarasa. The emotions are not much. And then Dasya Rasa is in complete servitude to the Lord. And then higher than Dasya Rasa is Sakya Rasa. That means Balaram serves in all the 5 capacities. Right? Even in Madhurya Rasa, Balaram appears as Ananga Manjari and she serves Radha Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. Right? Sakya Rasa means equal, right? Friendships or, service is there in all the rasas, but service not from a servant perspective, but from a perspective of a friend. That is Sakya Rasa. Higher than that is Vatsalya Rasa. Right? Prabhupada talks about how, the parents, as parents, right? One feels that, oh, Krishna is now dependent on me. If I don't feed Krishna, Krishna will die. Right? So in that mood is the Vatsalya Bhava, right? Which is even higher than Sakya Bhava. And then highest is, of course, Madhurya Bhava, where service is predominant in all of the 5 rasas, whether it is Dasya Rasa or Sakya Rasa or Vatsalya Rasa or Madhurya Rasa. Service is there in all the rasas, right? And what is the greatest benediction that Prabhupada is saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us is we are actually entering into the highest level of rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And not only that, in the mode of Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa 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 Anudasa, direct service unto Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, but under the instructions of all of those devotees who are already serving Radha Krishna. So the more we are servant of the servant of the servant, the more we are protected from the onslaughts of Maya, right? Because if we are under serving Radha and Krishna, if we commit some offense, then we fall down, right? Because there is so much purity that is expected when one worships Radha Krishna directly. Right? But however, when one serves the devotees of the devotees of the devotees of the devotees of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, the more we are lower in our position, the higher is our protection, because there is so many layers of protection. Our Shiksha Gurus are there, then the temple authority is there, then our Diksha Guru is there. So like that, so many layers of protection are there, right? But if we are directly, if you want to serve Radha and Krishna, and if we do commit some kind of aparad, or we commit some kind of offense, right? Because Radha Krishna worship is very, very high standard, right? That's why we worship Gaurnita deities, we worship Laddu Gopal deities. In the association of devotees, we learn what should be the mood and consciousness when we serve even the deities of the Lord, who are not different from the Supreme Lord. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has opened up this Pandora box of giving Krishna Nama to each and everyone, whether somebody is qualified or not, whether somebody wants it or not, right? Because he asked Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, go to every house, knock at their doorstep, ask them to chant Hare Krishna. So that is the mercy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give us, right? So let's continue reading this section of the introduction, wherein Srila Prabhupada is actually telling us what is the greatest fortune of us being in this movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Sri Krishna himself, who has appeared in the mood of his pure devotee, Srimati Radharani. Okay, devotees who like to read can raise your hands. Let me quickly start. However, Lord Chaitanya's greatest gift was his teaching that Lord Krishna can be treated as one's lover. In this relationship, the Lord becomes so attached to his devotee that he expresses his inability to reciprocate. Krishna was so obliged to the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, that he felt unable to return their love. I am unable to repay your love, he told them. I have no more assets to give. Devotional service on this highest, most excellent platform of love and beloved, which had never been given by any previous incarnation or Acharya, was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, writes in the 4th verse of his book, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in a yellow complexion, and he is Sachinandana, the son of Mother Shachi. He is the most charitable personality because he came to deliver Krishna Prema, unalloyed love of Krishna to everyone. May you always keep him in your hearts. It will be easy to understand Krishna through him. We've often heard the phrase love of Godhead. How far this love of Godhead can actually be developed can be learned from the Vaishnava philosophy. Theoretical knowledge of love of God can be found in many places and in many scriptures, but what that love of Godhead actually is and how it is developed can be found in the Vaishnava literatures. It is a unique and highest development of love of God that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we were discussing the other day, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. Right? What does Krishna tell in Bhagavad Gita 18.65? Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. You surrender everything. And what do you call Sarvadharman? You give up everything and simply surrender unto me. I will protect you from everything because I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That's what Krishna is telling Bhagavad Gita. But how are we to surrender? We are so much caught up in our day-to-day work, in considering ourselves that I am the enjoyer, I am the bhokta, I am the bharta, right? I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the owner of everything. So we are in this misconception. So first and foremost, for us to understand, there is no proper example. There are examples. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually did and showed to us by his own wonderful example how is it that we can surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Like when Advaita Acharya called for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to incarnate, called for Krishna to incarnate, what did Advaita Acharya say? In this people in the age of Kali, right, they are so much into sense gratification that Krishna, you need to come personally. Only then you can deliver the people in this age of Kali. And what did Krishna do? Krishna heard the prayer of the loud prayer and cry of Advaita Acharya. And in this way, Krishna incarnated as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking the mood of Srimati Radharani, taking the compassionate nature of Srimati Radharani. Because in Kali Yuga, we are all so fallen. The best thing that we can get is compassion. Why? Because we don't even understand our fallen state. We think we are wonderful. We think we are great. We think, oh, I'm a South Indian. I'm born in a Brahminical family. I know everything. but hardly do we know anything, right? Even when we are praying, we want material things, we want to enjoy material things, we don't know what to ask for. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's the Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate. He is the most munificent incarnation of Krishna, who has come to give Krishna, who has come to give Krishna Nam, who has come to give the holy names of the Lord, even though we are not interested, because we don't know what is good for us. Yet, it has been thrust upon us, right? You chant Hare Krishna, just like I was hearing Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, right? I think I mentioned in one of the other sessions, right? The devotees of the Lord are so clever. What do they come and say? You don't have to change your lifestyle, you don't have to give up anything. Just chant 10 minutes Hare Krishna mantra, just one round. In addition to whatever you're doing, you will get peace of mind. You'll be able to effectively manage your time, right? Because mana trayata iti mantra. If you're able to control the mind, we're able to utilize the time properly, we're able to achieve our goals. All these are secondary things, right? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this process by which everyone is brought within the loop of chanting Hare Krishna, some or the other, and everybody is slowly and steadily evolving according to their level, according to their surrender, according to their devotion to the Lord. Right? Simply chanting Hare Krishna once, right? Katunga Maharaj, right? He immediately thought of the Lord and went back home back to Godhead. So even one time we chant Hare Krishna, we can go back home back to Godhead. But what is the purity of that one time chant? Right? In order to get that purity is what is our lifetime sadhana, right? That we can chant one time the pure name of the Lord. We develop, reawaken our love for the Lord. And who came to demonstrate that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to demonstrate that simply by performing Harinam Sankirtan, how one can go back home, back to Godhead, how one can revive one's love for Lord Sri Krishna, right? And that love is so much that one is not even controlled. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most of his leelas, he would fall down unconscious, right? Why? Because that ecstasy is actually shown by Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should not imitate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? It is always Anukaran and Anusharan. You should take Anusharan. You should take shelter in the sense that we should take shelter of the instructions of the pure devotee of the Lord, instructions of our gurus, and not imitate our gurus. Oh, my guru is doing this. Oh, my guru is doing that. So the acharyas, they can do things according to time, place, and circumstances. So as sadhaka bhaktas, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do anusharan. We are supposed to follow the instructions of these pure devotees, and following their instructions, we please them. And thereby we can please Krishna. Thereby we can please Gauuuuranga Mahaprabhu. Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasado. Yasya prasadanna gati kutopi. Right? If we don't please our gurus, we will not be able to please Gauuuranga Mahaprabhu also. Gauuuranga Mahaprabhu is a merciful incarnation. But even Gauuuranga Mahaprabhu cannot tolerate Vaishnava Aparad. Right? Nityananda Prabhu had to intervene for Madai to get the blessing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He invoked the Sudarshan Chakra because he cannot tolerate Vaishnava Aparad. He cannot tolerate if a devotee, right? He is Krishna himself. He cannot tolerate, just because Arjuna was getting, the arrows were flowing into Arjuna and he was almost getting defeated in the battle. The Bhishma Pitamaha, what did he do? Immediately picked up the chariot wheel and rushed towards Bhishma Pitamaha. Of course, Bhishma Pitamaha himself is a pure devotee of the Lord. There are so many, when the Lord performs one thing, there are so many other objectives that are also met. Right? So he wanted to protect Arjuna. He fulfilled the desire of Bhishma Pitamaha. That he said that either I will kill Arjuna or I will make Krishna break his promise. And Krishna broke his promise. He is happy to break his promise hundreds and hundreds of times simply to give pleasure to his devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna only. Right? He has taken the mood of Srimati Radharani, and yet we should understand that Krishna, even Radharani, right? She is so merciful. Her appearance is coming in 3 days, 31st of August. Right? The only thing that can prevent us from receiving the mercy of even Srimati Radharani, who is an ocean of mercy, is Vaishnava Aparad. We need to be very careful that we don't offend a Vaishnava. It is better to lose in a battle, in a war of words, right? But it is better to avoid Vaishnava Aparad. Lose in the war of words, right? Because that will please Radharani, that will please Krishna, right? If we win the war, that will only please our false ego. And our ahankar will increase and increase and increase. And to that extent, will become farther and farther away from Srimati Radharani, from the mercy of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, this is a very vital point that although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Namo Mahavadanyaya, even he will not tolerate, he does not tolerate Vaishnava aparad. So many we can see the pastimes, right? We can see in the pastime of Jagai Madai, we can see in the pastime of this, who was that, who was giving that Bhagavata Sapta. Right, his disciples, Devananda Pandit. We see in the case of Devananda Pandit, who had so much taste in Bhagavat Katha, Bhagavat Ruchi. Even he lost the Bhagavat Ruchi because he not do anything. He only he did the mistake of not doing anything. When his disciples actually picked up Srivas Thakur and placed him outside, because Srivas Thakur was exhibiting tears in his eyes, and he was rolling on the ground hearing the Bhagavad Katha. Right? So whatever be our level of bhakti, we may be pure devotees also. But if we are not careful about avoiding Vaishnava aparad, or if it cannot be even omission, right? We have to ensure that we don't commit Vaishnava aparad, and also we should ensure that we avoid Vaishnava aparad, or we avoid the if Vaishnava aparad is happening around us, either we should try to correct it or we should leave that place immediately if you're not able to do anything, right? So such grave it is regarding Vaishnava aparad, right? So many pastimes can be told about it. Even Rupa Goswami, he was enjoying the pastimes of the Lord in his drishti, right? Suddenly one man, who was not, who had some kind of, infirmities in his body. He was walking across. He was just thinking, oh, Rupa Goswami is laughing at me because of my bodily infirmities. And then the Rupa Goswami lost his taste. Right? So careful you have to be a Vaishnava aparad. These are extreme examples. Right? Of course, Rupa Goswami is a pure devotee of the Lord. But these are examples to teach us how grave, how serious is a Vaishnava aparad that can cut the root of our bhakti. Right? If this is the case of pure devotees of the Lord, what about sadhaka bhaktas like us? That's why we're very, very careful of not committing Vaishnava aparad. Okay, let's quickly go ahead. Let me share my screen again. Yeah, so it is the unique and highest development of love of God that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, provided we don't commit Vaishnava aparad. Okay, so are there any devotees who'd like to read? Okay, I see a lot of hands. Okay, Chitra Krishna Sevani Mataji, then Madhavi, Swasni Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Deval Mataji, Anusha Mataji. All right. Let's quickly go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Mataji. Even in this material world, we can have a little sense of love. How is this possible? It's due to the presence of our original love of God. Whatever we find within our experience, within this conditioned life, is situated in the Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate source of everything. In our original relationship with the Supreme Lord, there's real love. And that love is reflected pervadedly through material conditions. Our real love is continuous and unending. But because that love is reflected pervadedly in this material world, it lacks continuity and is inebriating. If we want real inebriating. If we want real transcendental love, we have to transfer our love to the supreme lovable object, Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. In this material consciousness, we are trying to love that which is not at all lovable. We give our love to cats and dogs, running the risk that at the time of death, we may think of them and consequently take birth in a family of cats and dogs. Our consciousness at the time of death determines our next life. This is one reason why the Vedic scriptures stress the chastity of woman. If a woman is very much attached to her husband at the time of death, she will think of him, and in the next life, she will be promoted to a man's body. Generally, a man's life is better than a woman's because a man usually has better facilities for understanding the spiritual science.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Janat Pranam. So there was actually one devotee who asked Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada, why is it, are women very unintelligent? Because Prabhupada says, right? Sriyo Vaishyas Tata Shudra, right? And then Prabhupada very clearly told this disciple of Prabhupada that this is ordinary women, because ordinary women are generally interested in clothes and shopping and other things. But for devotees who have understood that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, right? Kalau Shudra Sambhava. In Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra and everybody is actually Prakriti. Right? Everybody is a female, right? But whereas only one Purushottam, the only one male is Lord Sri Krishna. right? For those women who don't and have this understanding of Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, I should engage in the service of the Lord. So all of these less intelligent is spoken about those kind of women, right, who are busy talking about saris and talking about movies and talking about the gossips about the latest car and or the latest whatever, right? And that is true even for men, right? Women, maybe the subjects may be different. But that's why Prabhupada tells in that in Bhagavad Gita purport, Maunam. Mauna means not just keeping quiet. Mauna means to talk about Krishna, right? If we are committing non-violence, if we are committing violence, if you are not talking about Krishna, right? In that particular translation, right? Mauna, Prabhupada actually talks about how one should always speak about Krishna consciousness according to time, place, and circumstances. We should speak in such a way that people are able to take up Krishna consciousness, and in that way, Krishna himself tells, in woman I am intelligence. Right? In woman, I am intelligence. Like that. In 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, right? So, a woman who is engaging in preaching Krishna consciousness, a woman who is practicing Krishna consciousness is not the woman who is described as being less intelligent, right? So, some people always ask this question. Why is it that Prabhupada always tells, women? So, Prabhupada actually answers in this conversation with his own disciple, right? Where when I think Malti Mataji asked Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, women who are engaged in Krishna consciousness, they are much higher than the normal men who are not practicing Krishna consciousness in terms of their intelligence. Secondly, Prabhupada also told that in case of a nice Krishna consciousness program, there are more women as compared to men in such programs, because women naturally have this quality of humility and surrender, which are lacked by men. Why? Because the men think that they are Purusha, right? Whereas in this context, right, we should always understand Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sababritya. Only Krishna is the Parama Purusha, is the only Purusha. Everybody else is Prakriti, like that. Okay, let's move ahead. I just wanted to explain this because devotees keep asking, why Prabhupada is saying, why Prabhupada is always saying women are less intelligent, women are less intelligent. Yes, because women are more emotional. You generally take their decisions based on emotions rather than logic, right? But a devotee is always given the right intelligence by the Lord. Teshamevanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha Nasyami Atmabhavastu Jnana Deepena Bhashvataha. When Krishna is giving the intelligence, how does it matter whether it is a man or a woman who is receiving that intelligence? Right? So whoever is receiving intelligence from the Lord because of the practical service, because of surrender, is definitely better and is not in a bad bodily platform, whether it is a woman or a man. Okay? Yes, that's what I wanted to clarify here. Okay, let's move ahead. Oh, okay, one more thing I want to discuss here is Yamyam Bhapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajatyanta Kalevaram Tam Tam Evaiti Kaunteya Sadatat Bhava Bhavitaha. Right, sometimes we think, okay, what is the harm if I just watch one TV serial or watch one movie? But it is very dangerous. If you think that it is in 1 hour, then after that I have completed my rounds, I have done my 1 hour Bhagavad Gita study. But why it is very dangerous? Because whatever we see, whatever association we take, whether it is a 1 hour TV serial or 1 hour movie, or reading some mundane magazines, it all creates impressions in our mind. When it creates impressions in our mind, at the time of death, whatever we have done will go as a flashback, right? So if we've spent a lot of time watching movies, etc., and we remember at the time of death, because at the time of death we don't have consciousness. All the kapha vata pitta are all imbalanced. We don't have any control over what we are thinking. So whatever we have done throughout our life will go as a flashback in our mind. Fortunately, if we have done devotional service throughout our life, His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu says, even while going to sleep, Prabhu was saying we should think that in the next 6 hours I am going to sleep. Why? Because I can rejuvenate myself and chant Hare Krishna tomorrow morning. So in that way, the sleep also is considered and is contemplated and the mode of service to Krishna. So in that way, 24 hours of the day, like following the example of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, if you are able to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, then what is the chance of us not remembering Krishna at the time of death? When that flashback happens, whether we are eating prasadam, whether we are sleeping, whether we are doing our work, everything we are doing as a service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Right? So, like Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj always blesses. What does he say? Krishna Mati Rastu. If you're able to always remember Krishna 24 hours of the day, when we are living, when we are healthy, when we are working, then at the time of death, when things are out of our control, Krishna will ensure that we remember him, and then we awaken our love of Godhead. We go back home, back to Godhead. Yeah, so that's what is mentioned here. How we should always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And then Antakalecha Mahameva Smanukta Kalevaram will automatically remember Krishna at the time of death. Okay, let's move ahead. Where were we? Yeah, we finished till here. Okay, Madhvi, Mataji, please go ahead. But Krishna consciousness is so nice from there.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Pranam. But Krishna
Pranam.
consciousness is so nice that it makes no distinction between man and woman. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, Lord Krishna says, anyone who takes shelter of me, whether a woman, Shudra, Vaishya, or anyone else of low birth, is sure to achieve my association. This is Krishna's guarantee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informs us that in every country and in every scripture, there is some hint of love of Godhead. But no one knows what love of Godhead actually is. The Vedic scriptures, however, are different in that they can direct the individual in the proper way to love God. Other scriptures do not give information on how one can love God, nor do they actually define or describe what or who the Godhead actually is. Although how to execute it, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a practical demonstration of how to love.
Although they
Sorry.
officially promote love of Godhead,
Okay,
they have no
sorry.
idea how to execute it. Yeah. No, actually, I think
No
the font
idea.
size. Yeah, 1 second. I'll just reduce it little so that it's more. Yeah. Yes, Mataji, is it okay now?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Okay. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a practical demonstration of how to love God in a conjugal relationship, taking the part of Srimati Radharani. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to love Krishna as Radharani loved him. Krishna was always amazed by Radharani's love. How does Radharani give me such pleasure? He would ask. In order to study Radharani, Krishna lived in her role and tried to understand himself. This is the secret of Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but he has taken the mood and role of Radharani to show us how to love Krishna. Thus, the author writes in the 5th verse, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, who is absorbed in Radharani's thoughts.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
राधा
Krishna.
कृष्ण
Thank you,
प्रणय
Mataji.
कृतेर लादिनी शक्तिरस्मात् एकात्माना एवि देह भेदं गतवतो देह भेदं गतवतो राधा कृष्ण प्रणय कृतेर लादिनी शक्तिरस्मात्. Right? So this Radha and Krishna, they are eternally one. Right? But when they want to enjoy separate pastimes, they expand. Krishna expands into Srimati Radharani. So it is not that they are enjoying independent. Right? It is that they come together. They enjoy as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mode of service to Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna. And when they want to enjoy separately, and there is difference between separate and being independent. Right? When we want to enjoy independent of the Lord, then what has happens? Then they are sent to this material world. Right? But Radha and Krishna, right? Radharani is the energy of Krishna. Right? So we all use our energies to satisfy our purposes. Like example, if I want to eat, right, I use my hand, then I use the energy that Krishna has given me, and then I take that morsel of food and put it in my mouth, and that satisfies my hunger. Right? So similarly, while like I have control over my body, my hand, and the energy that I have, Krishna is the energy or the energetic, and everybody is Krishna's energy. Starting from the internal pleasure potential of the Lord Srimati Radharani, starting from Yogamaya, who's arranging the various pastimes of the Lord, to the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord, Maya Devi, who is actually testing us time and again to check if we are ready to go back to Godhead, to the Tatastha Shakti, even we are energies of the Lord. Hence, just like my energies are employed by me for my pleasure, similarly, all of us who are energies of the Lord, whether Antaranga Shakti or Bahiranga Shakti or Tatastha Shakti, being living entities, we are all Tatastha Shakti energies of the Lord. We should all work towards the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose energies we are. Only then our life will have some value. Otherwise, like Prabhupada says in one lecture, just like the hand which is fallen down, right? The hand is cut from my body and is fallen down. What is the use of that hand? That hand is useless. Only if that hand is part of my body and that hand is still paralyzed, then what is the use of the paralyzed hand? That is also useless. Although it's stuck to my body, but it is still useless. But only when the hand is engaged in the activities that I want the hand to perform. If I want to eat, I want the hand to assist me, put the rasgulla or the gulab jamun in my mouth. I want my legs to walk to the temple, to do the parikrama. If my legs and hands are not cooperating with me, what is the use of having such a leg or a hand? Similarly, we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Manasastan indriyani prakriti stani karshati. We are struggling in this material world. Why? Because we are not cooperating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we have our own agendas and plans for enjoying independently of the Lord. That is why manasastan indriyani, with the mind, the senses and our intelligence, what are we doing? We are making plans to enjoy independently, and hence karshyati, we are struggling in this world. So what is the way in which we can revive our lost happiness? How do we revive our lost happiness? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Simply by rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, according to the instructions of our gurus. Right? So we're hearing another class. So Krishna says, Prabhupada says in the Krishna book, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one of the purports, Prabhupada says, Vrindavan Vasis, they directly take the shelter of Srimati Radharani. So what about people like us? We are in Pune, we are in Bangalore, we are in Dubai, we are in Muscat, wherever, different places. We are in US, we are in Australia. So what about us? We need to take shelter of our gurus, who are all representatives of Balaramji, who are representatives of Srimati Radharani, because they teach us, just like Balaram teaches us how to please Lord Sri Krishna by his own service. Srimati Radharani teaches us how to become so selfless in the service of the Lord that one does not even take care of one's own oh, what will happen to me? Right? The gopis left everything and went to Lord Sri Krishna when Krishna played the flute, not thinking, oh, what will happen to me when I come back? Will my husband yeah? So that is their level of surrender. We are not going to imitate them. Like I said, Anukaran, Anusharan. It's not that tomorrow I leave my home and I go to, Krishna, like Mirabai. We should not imitate such pure devotees of the Lord. But what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do Anusharan. These are all pure devotees of the Lord. What is their instruction? What is their instruction? Prahlad Maharaj has given that instruction. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Dasyare Pujana Sakijana Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasa Abhilashare. This Navangas of Bhakti, wherever, Sthani Sitham, right? We can be situated wherever we are. We can engage in the process of Bhakti, and that is the perfection of the human form of life. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, let me share my screen again. Yeah, so what is the secret of Lord Chaitanya's instruction? Devotional service. Rendering personal devotional service unto Gauranga, unto our gurus who are serving Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That is the perfection of life. And in that way, we'll be absorbed in Radharani's thoughts. Radharani's thoughts are always how to serve Krishna. And if we are absorbed in the instructions of our Guru Maharaj, of our Siksha Gurus and our Diksha Guru, then we are actually pleasing Srimati Radharani. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead. This brings up the question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Pranams.
This brings up the question of who Srimati Radharani is and what Radha Krishna is. Actually, Radha Krishna is the exchange of love, but not ordinary love. Krishna has immense potencies, of which three are principal: the internal, the external, and the marginal potencies. In the internal potency, there are three divisions: Samvit, Hladini, and Sandhini. The Hladini potency is Krishna's pleasure potency. All living entities have this pleasure-seeking potency, for all living beings are trying to have pleasure. This is the very nature of the living entity. At present, we are trying to enjoy our pleasure potency by means of the body in the material condition. By bodily contact, we are attempting to derive pleasure from material sense objects. But we should not entertain the nonsensical idea that Krishna, who is always spiritual, also tries to seek pleasure on this material plane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the material universe as a non-permanent place full of miseries. Why then would he seek pleasure in matter? He is the super soul, the supreme spirit, and his pleasure is beyond the material conception. To learn how
Hare
Krishna enjoys pleasure. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we see the devotees of Lord Shri Krishna, the Shad Goswamis of Vrindavan. Yesterday we were meditating on Shad Goswami Ashtakam, right? So Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro, right? So they are deriving pleasure in Krishna Kirtan, right? They are not. They have left everything. They are staying under the trees in Vrindavan Dham, right? They have renounced everything. Right. So when such pure devotees of the Lord are in so much bliss, even they don't enjoy material things like like a good house, a palatial house, or some good stuff, foodstuffs to eat. They are living under a tree every day, different tree on a different day, and they are just having kopi and a kantosrutao, and they are feeling so much blissful. How the Lord of their lives, he can enjoy something material. These people are giving up everything. Even those people who attain Brahman realization, they also give up all the material comforts. They are sitting and doing yoga. They are not breathing. Sometimes they breathe after some time. They are not eating for months together. So much of tapasya they are doing to attain Brahman realization. So we are trying to attain Bhagavan realization, which is the third level of highest level of realization as compared to Brahman. And how can the Supreme Lord, who is Bhagavan himself, relish something material which even the Brahmavadis are able to give up? Right? So this is so easy to understand, but people who have a closed mind, they cannot understand this. Right? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, right? He is transcendental. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita also. Right? Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary study. Bhagavatam is a graduation study. And Chaitanya Charitamrita post-graduation study. So we are expected to already know all of these things. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are not supposed to imitate Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a pleasure potency of the Lord. And we are all potencies of the Lord. And in terms of Tatastha Shakti, Antaranga Shakti and Bahiranga Shakti, you're all supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is where we should understand that Krishna is beyond material considerations. Okay, so we have 3 minutes more. Let me see. Okay, it's okay, fine. Deval Mataji, you read the first 4 lines and we'll end with that. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dana Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yeah. To learn how Krishna enjoys pleasure, we must study the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we should study the 10th canto, in which Krishna's pleasure potency is displayed in his pastimes with Radharani and the damsels of Braja. Unfortunately, unintelligent people turn at once to the sports of Krishna in the Dashamaskanda, the 10th canto. Krishna's embracing Radharani or his dancing with the cowherd girls in the Rasa dance are generally not understood by ordinary men because they consider these pastimes in the light of mundane lust. They foolishly
Okay.
think that Krishna is like...
Hare Krishna. So
Yeah.
we'll discuss this
Hare
tomorrow.
Krishna.
We'll do this.
Okay.
So
Sure.
this
Thank you.
is how Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So this is how we need to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like we start from the lotus feet of the Lord, when we offer obeisances, we'll take darshan from the lotus feet of the Lord, right above to the thighs of the Lord, then to the chest of the Lord, then to the lotus face of the Lord, and then to the forehead of the Lord. Right, like that, we need to the lotus feet of the Lord represents the first 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So every Bhagavatam also we should understand as we move forward, like we go ahead from the lotus feet of the Lord to the lotus face of the Lord. We should start from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada has invested all of his transcendental energies in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you've studied the first canto, we'll be thorough with the Krishna consciousness philosophy. What is the mood in which we need to practice devotional service? All right, so we have about 20 seconds remaining time. Let's quickly do Harinam Sankirtan, because it is only by the process of Harinam Sankirtan that we can please Guru and Gauranga. Right? Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahim indriyehi sevon mukhehi jivado swayameva suratyadaha. When we chant Hare Krishna, when we chant Krishna's names, when we glorify Krishna in the form through Harinam Sankirtan, then we access the mercy of the Lord, by which we are able to understand all these tattvas, by which we can perform devotional service in a way that's pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. We'll meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock sharp as we continue with this. Why is it so important that Prabhupada is stressing that we need to move from first canto onwards and not run about to the 10th canto or Rasalila pastimes of the Lord? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा